Well, we're really excited to be, back practicing again, getting ready for the season. We really had a very, very good summer, with our players. The new rules allows us to, meet with players a little bit each week and actually be on the field for, some individual simulated training type exercises. And I thought the organization that the players, when they did things on their own this summer, whether it be 7-on-7 or whatever, was very, very good, which is, what led to, because of the progress that we made this summer, we usually have a split practice where we have the older guys practice in the morning and the younger guys practice at night, and so that we can spend total and complete time with the younger players for one practice. But the issue with that in the past has been it really wears out the players because you only have 50 players out there, at a time, and you don't have enough guys to actually share the reps. And some guys get too many reps, and then I always felt like that really created, us sort of getting some overuse problems the very first day. So, we decided that we had made good progress with a lot of the freshmen, and basically we put the ones with the rest of the freshmen today on one end so that we could spend the bulk of the time with them and actually practiced, the twos and the other and threes, on in a different two-spot situation so that we could actually spend a lot of time with those guys. But, we've had really good work so far. It was a good first practice. I think, one of the things that we've tried to establish with our players is, creating and establishing an identity as a team when it comes to toughness, effort, relentless competitive spirit, how we compete in games. There's some major areas that we need to emphasize. The last couple of years we have not done very well in turnovers. We had a -2 turnover ratio last year for a team that won 12 games. That's almost unheard of. And we gave up too many big plays. So that's something that we need to work on. We need to do a better job of getting off the field on third down. And we need to play with a lot more discipline, on special teams so that we can take advantage of some of the great skill guys that we have. So, those are some of the things that we're really trying to focus on. The big emphasis now for the young players especially is, who can show that they can go out there and play winning football at their position and make a contribution in some way to the team. And, the way it goes is in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have to decide, okay, who are we going to coach, who are we going to play this year. So, it's really important that, those guys can learn, grow, not that they're going to master the position in that time, but show that they are worthy of us investing time in because they can make a contribution to the team, this year. So, the rules are 2 days in shorts, 2 days in shells, and then we can put pads on. So that's, sort of the protocol of what we're trying to do. Cam Sims, Raheem Falcons, and Josh Casher are all out with injuries. Cam obviously had his injury in the spring. He's not ready to go yet. Bo Scarborough is ready to practice on a limited basis in a black shirt. Raheem Falcons actually sort of, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but had a fracture in his leg this summer, which required a surgery. And, he's here for rehab. Cam is here for rehab. Josh Casher injured his pec in lifting weights this summer, and he will be out for probably a few more weeks. The other guys will all have a timetable where they'll be able to return. They're not ready to, so they can come to fall camp for rehab. They can't participate, and so that's how we're going to use them until school starts. We're hopeful that these guys, when school starts, will be able to start to contribute. So that's sort of the plan for them. Questions?
Nick, you touched on something I wanted to ask about, the new rule that allows you to spend some time with the players during the summer. Did you find a formula to use those 2 hours that's most beneficial, and did you find today that was really helpful to those guys when they hit the field?
Well, I think it was really helpful that, that we were able to spend that time. We didn't always spend 2 hours. We spent 20 or 25 minutes on days where, the players were going to do 7-on-7, which has to be organized. The coaches can't be out there for that, but the players sort of do it. But on the days that we had that, which was 2 days a week prior to the 4th of July, 3 days a week after the 4th of July, we would spend 20 minutes or so, in meetings with the players and could make points of emphasis with them. And I think it was really good. I mean, it was really helpful.
With Bo, is this kind of the time frame that you had for him in terms of being able to practice right now, or is this ahead of schedule in terms of?
Well, I think he's a little ahead of schedule in terms of his rehab, his Cybex, what he was able to do on the Ultra G. So he's having no contact practice. He's 4 months, which is most of the time when they turn guys loose to cut and do all those things, we certainly don't want to hit him. He'll probably be a while before he can play. I don't envision him playing in the first 4 games. He's suspended for the first 4 games anyway, but I don't think he'd be able to play because of the injury. So our target for him is to allow him to practice, increase his workload over the next what amounts to 2 months, and hopefully by the end of September he'll be able to start making a contribution.
Back in the spring with the offensive line, you talked about 4 guys separating there at corner. Tony has practiced with the first team and a first-team guys since the spring. Hey, how much separation is there, or is that a closely contested battle for?
I'm misunderstanding your question.
Is there any separation with Tony as a starting corner, or is that
between who and who?
Between Tony, Bradley, Marlon, or has Tony kind of separated there?
No, they're all competing. Tony was with the second team today. So we alternate them all in there, and the guys that play the best will be the guys that we'll make a decision about playing with. But I think that it's important that those guys understand that they have to go out there and develop the trust and respect of their teammates, that they're going to be able to go out there and do their job on a consistent basis. And talked about attention to detail before, and that's important. We gave up too many big plays, so it's a point of emphasis that we play better at in the secondary. And so we're giving lots of people lots of opportunities at different positions.
Right back to Michael. With the defensive line this August, what are you looking for the most specifically to get improvement from them in that unit?
Well, the defensive line played fairly well last year, I thought, and we've got quite a few guys coming back. I thought they did a nice job in the spring. I think we have a good mix in terms of the diversity of types of players that we have. Some guys are athletic and rush. Some guys are big and physical, can play inside. I think you need that in our league because we're going to play 3 or 4 teams that are sort of I formation, 2-back run teams, which we haven't seen a lot in the last couple of years. So we're going to need some big physical guys to play against that. And then we're going to play against a lot of spread teams where we're going to need to be more athletic. So I feel like we've got 9 or 10 guys that can make a contribution there, and every one of those guys have things that they can improve on. They all worked hard in the summer and we're in pretty good shape, so that's a good start. But we need for that entire group to continue to improve.
With the offensive line, how do you plan to rotate guys in while also getting some continuity among that group? Well,
there's competition. I mean, I don't know if you put continuity before competition, how you allow anybody to ever beat anybody out. So, we got some new players. We got some players that were there in the spring. They're all competing. We don't have a depth chart now. I tell the players that all the time. You think I just tell you that? I tell the players that. All right, so it's up to every guy to go out there and prove that he can play winning football at his position and compete with effort and toughness and three things. What do you want to accomplish? How important is it to you, and what are you willing to do it? And what are you going to do when things don't go exactly right for you? So, you know, that's a challenge every day. And I don't think anybody has a position locked up. And, you know, so there's a lot of competition going on in a lot of positions. And we're going to try to get the best players on the field first before we worry about having not the best players, having continuity.
Coach, just curious about I'm sorry, right here. Coach, first day of practice, just your overall impression, and then second on Rashaan Evans, and what's the improvement you've seen from spring to now?
Right. Well, you know, I mentioned earlier that I thought it was a good first practice. I thought we had good energy, good spirit. Players are trying to do the things the way we wanted to do them. The only thing I talked to the players about afterwards is attention to detail, because it's a part of who you are. I don't care what drill it is. I don't care if it's how you break down. I don't care if it's how you prepare for practice, how you hydrate yourself. You got guys getting cramps. We're practicing inside today. Well, it tells me you didn't prepare yourself right. That's attention to detail. Everybody needs to do a better job of that, all right, in terms of the way you play and in everything you do, because it's a part of who you are. So that's the whole team. Rashaan Evans is gaining knowledge and experience that's helping him play with more confidence and consistency, and I think he's going to be a real contributor to us, you know, situationally this year, and we're hoping that he can develop the instincts at outside linebacker and pass coverage that he needs to be able to feel comfortable playing that position as well.
To follow up on the running back situation, first of all, 4 games is a fairly long suspension. Was that just an internal situation or anything you can discuss?
No, it's an NCAA thing, which, you know, we have to respect what they say about amateurism. And, you know, I don't really know the details of it, and I shouldn't comment, because it seems like every time I make a comment about something, it gets kind of taken out of context and gets blown up and all that. So I'm going to make less comments about things.
Okay, and also with
All right.
with Kenyan, was he able to work as a running back today? Is he and also are you looking
Kenyan
at
Drake
other
is
places?
fine. How many times do I have to say that? I have been asked about Kenyan Drake from the first day of spring practice. He was full speed in the spring. He was full speed all summer, and he's full speed now. And I think he'll be full speed next week, God willing, and he doesn't, and nothing happens to him. So. All right, now I'm going to make a statement about something because I thought you would surely ask. So this will be the last time this ever gets talked about. So no one needs to ever ask me, because I'm going to tell you to pull it up on your little computer or Facebook or whatever, Twitter or whatever you do. All right, I just want everybody to know that I'm opposed to an unauthorized biography for anybody. All right, and I think that's, you know, some person that you don't even know trying to profit by your story and or someone else's story. And you know, one of these days when I'm finished coaching in Alabama, I'll write an authorized book, because you know there's really only one expert on my life, and guess who that is? Me. And there won't be any misinformation. There won't be any false statements. There won't be any hearsay. You know, there won't be any expert analysis from somebody else. It'll be the real deal. But I'm not really ready for that to happen. And, you know, it's a little amazing to me that the timing of all this happening right when we're starting camp, I just want everybody out there and all of our fans to know it's not going to be a distraction to us, and it's never going to get discussed again. But since I'm not finished yet at Alabama, we're not writing any books yet. But when we decide to write an authorized book, it will have the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's okay.